Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Frontline Changes Report. Over the past 36 hours, there is a lot of frontline changes. So this is the Frontline Changes Report. And first we go to the Kupyansk Front. So this is the Kupyansk Front. And at the Kupyansk Front, there is the first frontline changes is over at Zagoruikovka. So this is actually this Peshok Trafneve. This is Zagoruikovka. And there is a geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting attacked by a FPV drone of the Russian armed forces. And this actually updates the mapping. So showing that the Ukrainian forces actually have taken this tree line as opposed to the previous conflict of information that the Russians claim to have reached this line, whereas the Ukrainians claim to be around this line. So this actually just shows that we have confirmation that the Ukrainian forces actually have this tree line around at Zagoruikovka. The other one is more significant. So after the so this is the general picture over at Krasnohorivka. The Russian forces have captured Krasnohorivka, and it is now confirmed by the Russian Defense Ministry. And so what happens is that after this massive offensive that the Russians have pushed, they are now pushing northward towards Kotlyarivka, as well as going southward towards Berestove. So there is frontline changes as a result of this offensive over in the northern part of near the Avdiivka. The Russian forces basically have head towards the southern part of Kotlyarivka. And this frontline change is rather significant because this basically flanked Kotlyarivka and Krasnohorivka, where the Ukrainians have a very strong defenses in this area, where the Russians have tried many times attacking from the east, didn't work out. So with this breakthrough by the Russians, they are heading from the south, and this already cause some kind of like a semi-encirclement already in this area, and the Russians can continue to push down the highway. And so this is actually rather significant. And actually, if you look into the geography, the topography over this region here, this is Kotlyarivka, and basically if you go down, you can see that this is actually the high ground. So you can see the settlement is actually in the south. So it's in the south, in the low ground, and then the Russian actually is holding the high ground. As you can see, I wonder if you can tell the difference. The Russians have actually taken the high ground in this region here. So this entire area here is the high ground, and the Russian forces attack and captured this high ground, and they will have fire control on the Ukrainians that is in Kotlyarivka, or even in Krasnohorivka as well. And there's another significant thing that is revealed in this satellite imagery, is that in this very updated one, you can see there is actually a trench line, which means that if the Russians have captured this, means that the Russians actually captured the entire trench line south of I don't know why I can't pronounce this word anymore, Kotlyarivka. So this is actually a pretty significant development, if you ask me, in this area here. And further south, after the Russian capture of Krasnohorivka, they head south towards Berestove. And so the idea now is, according to the Russian sources, is that they are now in the south, in the northeastern part, the northeastern outskirt of Berestove. And this actually is a stark contradiction to whatever Ukrainian mappings are currently in regards to Berestove, because the Ukrainian mapping, the front line is still pretty far away along the highway region. So we shall continue to monitor and see if we will have further updates or geolocations that can confirm this progress. Tentatively, all this Russian progress is not geolocated. These are all just Russian claims or pro-Russian claims. We have not have geolocations to confirm this. What we do have is, I saw this Ryba or some pro-Russian sources claiming that there is a confirmation through some footage of Russian forces on the western outskirts of Krasnohorivka, but I didn't see that very post that they are mentioning about, so we can just ignore it for now. And so the next frontline changes is over at Bilohorivka, over in the Sivers front. So this Sivers, and this is Crimea. So this is the Crimea front, this is the Sivas front, and Bilohorivka is actually in the Sivas front, just on the edge of the Crimea front, you know, because separated by the Seversky Donetsk River, which is over here. And there is a geolocation of Russian forces in the northern part of Bilohorivka, in this area here. This actually was pretty much the edge of where our mapping is, and there is just a small clarification of the front line, since the Russian forces is geolocated here, and which means that the Russians are also making some progress, or making some attempts going through the forest to head to this pumping station, if I didn't remember wrongly. So we shall continue to wait and see how this progress. These are Russian forces getting hit by, I think, FPV drones or something. And the next frontline change is over in the south of in the southern flank of Bakhmut front. This is Bakhmut city, and this is over at the Andriivka region. There is a geolocation of a very weird footage. There is just two infantry fighting each other, and so it is claimed that the Russian soldier killed the Ukrainian one, and particularly at this very location. And if the fighting is at this location, this proves that this might be the front line, and it also means that over some time, over the past don't know how many days, the Russian forces actually have made some progress in this area here and taken part of this one side of this railway line. So we shall continue to monitor and see how this progress in this area here. So previously, what we do understand is that the Ukrainian forces have very strong control over the entire railway line, and they are holding the defense in this line, while the Russians have to stand off in a further region, and every time they push through, they are actually have to go through the open, and which will subject them to destruction, because they have to go through the open ground. But we shall continue to wait and see how this progress. Very weird footage. Is I don't understand the footage very well. Looking at it don't make a lot of sense. And so we go into the Avdiivka front. So this is Avdiivka city, and we all know that the Russians are currently going through their Avdiivka offensive. That's been going on for some time already, and the Russian forces are attacking from multiple directions, and the most significant one, of course, is the one over in the southern part. And there is updates in the southern part. There's two different frontline changes in the southern part of Avdiivka. The number one is this major breakthrough. The Russian forces, after capturing the restaurant, and there's a lot of rumors that came out about the Russians entering into the suburb region, and so this okay, wait. Oh shit. Wait, give me a second. Okay, all right. Sorry. I mixed up my shortkeys. So the Russian forces are now and have now attacked into the suburb, and this is now confirmed by geolocation. So the geolocation in these two locations of Russian forces getting hit by FP of Ukrainian drones. So the Ukrainians are trying to hit the Russian forces that have entered into the suburb. Previously, all the information about Russian forces entering into this area of the suburb has always been seen as rumor by me, because it's very bullish, and it's very hard to just take it, because a lot of this kind of very bullish or very exciting news tends to be wrong. And this time around, we have geolocation to confirm this. And previously, you can the front line, I only mapped something like this. You can see it from in the rear. And this time around, and I do not sure why it did not update the mapping, but yeah, the situation is that the Russian forces have actually made progress in this much, at least down this road. This road of the Soborona road. The Valicia is actually road, if I'm not wrong the meaning. So there is also strategic or implications in this area here. If we go to the Google Earth, so we can actually see this is exactly where we are. This is this Avdiivka city. This is the southern part of Avdiivka city, and of course we can see the breakthrough is the same. But when we look into the relief mapping, it doesn't look like much from this area here. We see the Russian push, but actually if you look from the side, you will see that this actually there's a cliff around here, and the Russian forces is now going down this road. They're geolocated here. They're going down this road, and they're probably going to spread out in this area here, and they're going to hold a position along this ridge line. And this is actually a high ground. As you can see, it can actually see a big chunk of the southern part of Avdiivka. This entire area will be under fire control if the Russians can have certain good positions or snipers or anti-tank guided missiles stationed there, or they can have just scouts or artillery spotters sitting in these positions, and they will be able to have a good view of this entire southern part of Avdiivka city. And you can see from this position, you can basically see the southern part. Further away will be a bit more challenging to do spotting, but they can definitely spot artillery positions and whatnot. So this is very, very significant strategically. This is actually very or tactically, this is actually very, very significant success by the Russian forces. And tentatively, I'm very, very conservative about this. I'm only mapping it to be like this. I haven't claimed that they have captured the rest of this settlement or even the southern part of this neighborhood. We shall continue to monitor and wait and see, because this is too sensitive, I would say, to just anyhow draw the border. Just like in the Battle of Bakhmut, we have to go into quite granular, from street to street, neighborhood to neighborhood, in order to understand what is happening. So now this is going to be the situation as we go into the Battle of Avdiivka, as the fighting is now entering Avdiivka proper, and this is something that we need to note. And this routing of the Ukrainian forces, or this collapsing of the Ukrainian front line in the Avdiivka front, continues over in the northern part of Spartak. So this Spartak and this Opytne, both of it is under Russian control. So on the eastern part of Opytne, or northeastern or northwestern part of Spartak, lies this very powerful fortress that the Ukrainians have held control for a very long time. It has always been a thorn in the ass for the Russian forces. It has now fallen. There is geolocation footages of Ukrainian forces getting taken prisoners inside this house, this one little house over here. And this actually proved that the Russian forces have overrun this entire position. And this is basically as I have predicted, based not very directly, but like I mentioned before, with the Russian forces, if they continue to push in this direction, they will be cutting off all this retreat route, and the Ukrainian forces in this area will be all encircled, this including these people over here as well. And eventually the natural reaction is to just withdraw. This breakthrough is definitely something to do with this breakthrough in the south. So this is a very, very major victory by the Russians in this very, very static front line. So this is why this is very important. Without this fortress, what you have in the rear is not going to be very much. If you look through in this mapping, you can see that there is not a lot more going through. There's some entrenchment around here, but this stick to this settlement. But when the Russians are pushing in this direction, the Ukrainian forces will not feel very comfortable staying there as well. So this is actually a very, very big development, I would say, in the south, and we'll probably see a much faster collapse of this entire southern part, where the Ukrainians have to regroup themselves around a more defendable zone. This is too stretched out, and with Russian having a drone advantage at this moment, I think the Ukrainian forces will not be able to reinforce or resupply any positions very far into the front line or into a salient where they do not have firm control of the communication routes. So this is actually quite bad for the Ukrainian forces. So it is what it is. There is another more positive news for the Ukrainians, is that the Ukrainian forces over at the Donetsk front, north of Marinka, in the southeastern part of Krasnohorivka, which is here. There's this bunch of buildings or industrial buildings has been retaken by the Ukrainian forces, or at least partially taken. Geolocation of Russian drones hitting Ukrainian positions within this cluster of buildings shows that the Ukrainian forces have actually counterattacked and retaken this area here, or it could be the Russians basically just withdraw entirely from this area, because previously we have information via geolocation of Russian forces taking this position around months ago, and since it seems like this has failed, and I'm not sure why is my mapping or not reflecting. Oh my god, wasting my efforts. Okay, let me draw this quickly, because if not then I may forget about it later. So yeah, so this is the situation over at this Krasnohorivka, and I think there is one more. I believe there's one more frontline change is over at Robotyne. So this is Orikhiv sector in the Zaporizhia front. This is the Zaporizhia front over this area here, and at the Orikhiv sector there is geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting hit by artillery within this forest region in the southern part of Robotyne, which is currently under Ukrainian control, and this actually invalidates entire swaths of grounds that is previously claimed to be taken by the Russian forces. I can't really remember who claimed this. I'm not sure, is it Surya Maps or is it Raiba? So but nevertheless, I have always been a bit suspicious about this, because we don't really see much action in this area, which don't make a lot of sense. But this time round, with geolocation of Ukrainian forces at this position, we can confirm that the front line did not progress that far. In fact, the most likelihood is that the Ukrainian mapping is actually correct, that the Russian lines is actually like this, rather than something much further up front. So we shall continue to wait for further geolocations in this area here in order to verify whether this is actually true or not. But my gut feeling is that the Ukrainian mapping is actually correct, and the Russian forces actually do not actually stretch that far out to the eastern part of Robotyne. So yeah, and so this is the frontline changes is quite a bit. So we have just to recap a bit, we have at Zagoruikovka and the Kotlyarivka region, as well as the Berestove, with the Russian forces attacking southward, and then we also have at Bilohorivka, we have something at Andriivka, maybe Andriivka is here, and then we have quite a bit over at Avdiivka region, and then of course we have Krasnohorivka as well as Robotyne. So quite a number of frontline changes, and the Russian forces is definitely making a lot of move. But this frontline change is around 6 versus 3. So you know, Russia is winning right now. We shall see how this goes. The SITREP will be tomorrow, and this is the frontline changes. So probably I will not cover the same front lines that I have already covered today or in this video, because then the whole video will stretch out quite a bit longer, because as you can see, this video is already 80 minutes long, 90 minutes long. So if I put 90 minutes in front of the SITREP, the SITREP will just be too long. So bear with me. We shall continue to work on how to improve the reporting, and hopefully this will make you happy and makes you enjoy and the videos better, and of course find the information easier to absorb and easier to understand. So also let me know in the comments what you think, any advice or recommendations, your feedback or whatnot, and also check out the DPA open mic that happened around 24 hours ago. It was a very good open mic. It was 5 hours plus. Check it out. There's a lot of conversation, especially in the early parts. We talk about the Ukraine war situation, so you know, you do not want to miss it. And I'll see you guys in the next update.